challenges does Canelo pose once you guys get in there?
I don't know. I just think his punching power and his physical size is the only thing that I really have to worry about. But who knows?
If I'm promoting Crawford, good. I say I'm not involved in
Pacheco. Oh man, hey, listen, Eddie. I might have to. Yeah. Don't make me come up.
You see, the thing is, yeah, if you're gonna go up to 168 pounds, this is the kind. You know what I mean? You look about 180 pounds already.
He gonna be coming for me.
I'm not so, yeah? Why is he gonna beat your man?
Huh?
Man, we gonna stop him.
Yeah.
Man, we gonna stop him.
There you go. There you go.
It seems to be almost impossible for Terence Crawford to win this potential upcoming fight with Canelo Alvarez. How can Bud Crawford get the job done? It's your boy, Mr. 926, a.k.a. Bushido the Dragon, a.k.a. the Black Mage, a.k.a. I can just do this all day, the two-time demonetized champion of the world.
I need y'all to get the likes up, man. Get the likes up.
Check it out, man. How could Terence Bud Crawford, win against the mighty Canelo Alvarez? If you go on social media, it's just a lot of people just don't think he can get it done, right? Just people just don't think Bud Crawford stands a chance. They think he just go in there and essentially just get knocked out. Erase the fact that he could lose a controversial decision due to the politics that surrounds Canelo Alvarez. But that's neither here nor there. How could Bud Crawford win this fight? What could Bud Crawford do to make sure he's able to stay in the fight? Well, the first thing I could think of, right, is the weight. The weight is going to be the issue. And it's not the weight with Canelo that's going to necessarily be the problem. For Crawford, I think that he should come in, and I said this before on the live stream when we was talking about it, but I think he should come in at whatever way he wants to come in at. Don't even worry about trying to make 168, right? Because once he starts to work out, and Eddie Hearn did mention he was with Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford watching Shakur Stevenson spar, and Eddie Hearn mentioned that Crawford looks like he's around 180. So if he could get down to, once he starts to train and get the weight start coming off, he'll probably be lighter than 168. He should just come in like around 64, 65. And then whatever he rehydrate to, that's what he rehydrates to. He don't want to rehydrate too heavy to where he may not be able to carry the weight for 12 rounds, right? I mean, we know Terence Crawford can fight. We know he got the skills to pay the bills, etc. However, if the fight was to go to the distance in the later rounds, I would say just honor the bigger man will have the advantage. The bigger man will have the advantage. So Terence Crawford is going to have to make sure he comes in at a very comfortable weight. Don't even have to try to compete with Canelo Alvarez size for size. Just come in comfortable and rehydrate to a good weight so you can be able to fight at 168, right? Another thing is, when you're dealing with a guy like Canelo, who's heavily, a lot of people make a lot of money off this guy. So it'll probably be against their best interest for a guy like Crawford to come in there and just kind of ruin the gravy train, right? So going into that fight, he's going to be down a couple of rounds, 2 or 3 rounds as soon as he gets in that ring. That's just what it is when you're dealing with a guy like Canelo. So he's going to have to get to work almost right away. Now, historically, Crawford is a slow starter. And his recent fight, he didn't necessarily start too slow. But historically, he's a slow starter. I don't think he could afford to start off too slow against Canelo Alvarez, because even in those rounds where not too many punches are being thrown and they kind of filling each other out, or it's one of those takeoff rounds, they'll likely give it to Canelo Alvarez because he's probably going to be trying to walk you down. They're going to give it to him for effective aggression, even though there wasn't nothing really happening, right? So you gotta steal every round. You're going to have to take every round. You have to take every round. Last 30 seconds of every round, you got to get to work. Similar to what Sugar Ray did. I'm not saying do exactly what Sugar Ray did, but if it's one of those rounds to where you not too much is being thrown or landed, the last 30 seconds, you got to get to work. You got to steal that round. Because I think Crawford's toughest battle dealing with Canelo Alvarez is the politics. And I said this before, I don't think the actual fight was Crawford probably going to do a lot better than most expect. However, I think the politics is going to be his biggest battle to overcome. Because even when you beat a guy like Canelo, you still necessarily might not beat him. You got to go out there and clearly beat him Bivol style. Because even Floyd Mayweather got a majority decision and he washed Canelo. He made Canelo look like he was an amateur and he still only won a majority decision. I'm still scratching my head as to how and why. So Terence Crawford must also understand that he got to get up in there and really get to work. Use your reach advantage. He has a significant reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez. One of the main advantages that he'll likely have in a fight is his reach advantage. Canelo has about, 70 inch reach or something. Crawford has a 74 inch reach. So he's going to have a good reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez. He has the speed advantage over Canelo Alvarez. I think he should get back to using his foot speed. Now, Terence Crawford, as he gotten older, he used more calculated, intelligent footwork versus him just kind of moving around the ring. I think he may want to move around the ring a little bit in this fight, similar to how he did in the Postal fight. Just to show Canelo Alvarez different things. Because you don't want to get trapped into what Canelo Alvarez is doing. Because Canelo Alvarez, despite him not necessarily being the most fleet-footed fighter, he does take over as the ring general in a lot of his fights. He does dictate the pace in a lot of his fights. If you're a guy like Bivol didn't let Canelo dictate the pace. Bivol didn't let Canelo fight when he wants to fight, and that's another thing. Don't let Canelo fight when he wants to fight. Canelo don't like to fight when he don't want to fight. Canelo, in spots, seems that, I'm not saying he has terrible stamina, but Canelo Alvarez is not going to be throwing every second of every round. He's just not that type of Mexican fighter. He's just not. He's not going to be throwing 1,000 punches around. He's not. You got to be in tremendous shape, and you got to make Canelo Alvarez work. It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. But how could Bud win? Bud got to go out there and be his best. He got to go out there and put up a performance of a lifetime. Because I don't think Canelo Alvarez himself, who is a tough challenge, is going to be his biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is overcoming the politics if this thing goes to decision. If Crawford isn't able to magically, and I say magically, stop Canelo Alvarez, and I say magically because Canelo Alvarez has an iron chin, I don't really see people hurting the guy too much, honestly. I never really seen Canelo Alvarez hurt like that, except for when he fought Miguel Cotto brother years ago, and he was a welterweight, and that was years ago, and it really never happened again. So I haven't really seen Canelo Alvarez. He got a good poker face, if anything, great recovery. He knows how to roll with it well. But if you're not able to knock this guy out or even buzz him or hurt him, how will you get the decision in the end? You got to make sure you do a lot of work in that fight against Canelo Alvarez. Because even though Turk Al-Sheikh is riding with Crawford, right? That doesn't mean the powers that be is going to be riding with Crawford. And I don't even know who the powers that be is. I'll just say boxing in general, because Canelo Alvarez make a lot of people a lot of money. So you got to go out there and really beat this guy. You got to go out there and really convince the judges that you really won this fight, bro. Combination punches is going to be the key. A strong jab. The southpaw stance will be key. Canelo Alvarez don't fight too many southpaws. I think the southpaw stance will be key for Crawford in this fight. I think a strong jab, which we saw a lot of strength in that jab in the Errol Spence fight. I think that power jab is going to be key. Keep him honest. Because we seen Canelo Alvarez when he fought Floyd. Floyd wasn't considered a big puncher. For years, everybody said Floyd can't punch. He punched like this, that, but his fist is weak and all that. But Canelo Alvarez respected him enough to not walk him down. You got to do the same thing. Because Canelo Alvarez will walk you down if you let him. Just like Jamel. Jamel let Canelo walk him down. Jamel wasn't putting no heat behind them punches enough for Canelo to respect him. So Canelo just walked him down and beat him down. And then he laid down. But if you go on the internet, a lot of people just don't think Bud Crawford can get it done. And Terence Crawford always seems to find himself in these situations. And I think this is what he wanted. Because he could have just stayed at 54 and fought some guys there and did this. He could have did something else. But now he wanted Canelo Alvarez. Why? Because of this. He want people to say that he can't do it so he can go out there and shut everybody up. That's what Bud wanted. I think Bud Crawford can get the job done. My biggest thing with the fight is the politics. Will he be able to overcome the politics? I'm not even worried about Canelo. In my opinion, Crawford is a much better fighter than Canelo Alvarez. But Canelo Alvarez is naturally the heavier guy. Canelo Alvarez has a tremendous amount of experience. And Canelo Alvarez has the favor of the boxing politics in his back pocket. So that's what he's going to have to really ultimately overcome in his fight. Of course, not make any mistakes, get clipped, or get too overzealous in there with him, right? Because you don't want to get caught with one of those bombs that Canelo likes to launch. You just don't want to get caught. And Canelo's a pretty good counterpuncher as well. So you got to be careful with that. So we're going to have a fight with a guy that's a counterpuncher. Canelo is a kind of a counterpuncher now. But Canelo also likes to kind of put the pressure on you. Will Crawford be able to deal with Canelo's power if things land? Will Crawford be able to even deal with Canelo's power even if he blocks Canelo's power? Will that have an effect on Crawford? I'm not quite sure. But if you look at Terence Crawford now, since the fight with Mijamov and everything, he looks to be a lot bigger than what he was before. So the weight may not be much of an issue like people may think. It may not be much of an issue like people may think. Because we also must remember Canelo's not necessarily a natural 168. It's not like he's a guy that started off at 168. Canelo was originally a welterweight. Then for a long time, he was a junior middleweight. Then he gradually moved his way on up. Now, this is a 2-weight jump for Crawford, but I think at 37, 38 years old, I think he should be able to carry the weight pretty well in the fight, especially considering he's fighting a guy who's not necessarily the biggest 168-pounder. But what could Bud Crawford do to win the fight? Just be Bud Crawford. Don't come in too heavy. Don't put on too much muscle. Just be Bud Crawford. Tell me what you guys think. How could Terence Bud Crawford win against Canelo Alvarez? Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.